we've been having a lot of really deep conversations with our inner circle members and clients, and it's been really cool to have really vulnerable talks about their ability to sometimes quit on themselves. And I think it's something that I go through as well, of constantly trying to really work on these mindset hacks. And so what I wanted to do today is, one, to try to give you 3 things that you can begin to work on from a mindset perspective, and something that's going to help you continue on this journey, whether it's a fitness journey, a nutrition journey, a weight loss, or even just looking to get your self-care back into working order. I wanted to give you 3 ways that I teach my clients to be able to continue the fight, to be able to be consistent, to be able to make sure that they are focusing much more on the process. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into them. First one, I already kind of gave it away. Focusing on the process and not so much the outcome. And this is something that I tend to find with a lot of people. Okay. And so usually when an inner circle member steps into our program, the first 30 days is kind of like a lot of mindset triggering. And so what we're trying to do is to put more of a focus on some of the details. And so, for instance, if you have been really struggling with your weight loss journey, if you've been really struggling with just staying consistent, this is for you. All right. And so what we want to do is try to come up with these high reward habits. And this is what we do in our inner circle. Like, we'll come up with strength training days. We'll come up with nutrition goals. We'll come up with sleep. We'll come up with non-exercise activity. It takes some time to get there. But I will tell you that usually when people in our inner circle really start to struggle, and usually it's around months 3 to 4, because they're really working through some of their mindset stuff. When they really start to struggle, what's going to happen is they're constantly focusing on their weight loss. They're constantly focusing on what the number on the scale reads. They're constantly focusing on just the outcome. And what I tend to tell them, and this is what is really powerful, is that constant focus on the outcome really takes away from the gratitude of the actual process. The actual process and the details of the process are meant to be talked about, because when we talk about them in coaching calls, they tend not to focus on, like, oh my God, my family's eating better. Oh my God, my husband and I, or my wife and I, we plan meals together. That's freaking cool. Like, we're communicating better. Oh my God, my sex drive has increased. Oh my God, my body confidence. Like, there's all these things. And so when you focus more on the process, right? If you focus more on, let's say, sleep hygiene, or let's say making it to the gym, or in a lot of our cases, like working out or taking a walk 3 days out of the week. And so if you focus in on that process, you're going to get the outcome, because we're kind of putting one before the other if you're constantly just focusing on what you want out of your goals, and rather not focusing and scheduling in the things that you need to from the standpoint of what the process brings. Okay. So here's the second one. And this is another one too. I really love this exercise too. So it's called the so what exercise. So let me kind of bring it into an example that you can understand. So when someone is like, Des, like, I'm just really struggling. Like, I think I'm going to quit. Right. And so what I'll do from there is be like, okay, like, let's do the so what exercise. Like, let's find out why you're quitting on yourself. Okay. So what I'll say is like, okay, so you quit. So what? What then? And so what they're meant to do is kind of peel the onion and peel the layer a little bit. And so I did this recently with one of our inner circle members. And so this person was like, you know what, like, I don't know if I have what it takes. Like, I don't know. I was like, okay, well, let's do this exercise. And so we went through it, and I said, so what? And so this person got to a point where they're like, well, if I quit on myself, then I'm going to be all alone, and then I'm going to feel really lonely. I was like, okay, well, that's worst case scenario. So what? What next? Well, if I'm lonely, then I'm really going to disconnect from all the things that I really enjoy, which means that I'm not going to find joy in life anymore. Like, okay, so what? Well, if I don't find joy in life anymore, then what the hell am I here for? Like, okay, well, then so what? Well, what the hell am I here for? Then I feel like I've just been wasting my time this whole time and not getting anything out of it. And so as we dug more and more, what we found with this person is it really goes back to a core thing that happened in their life, where they're like, you know what, like, I got this message really early on that I wasn't lovable. I got this message early on that I wasn't enough. And so that part right there that gets triggered was actually stepping into this person's life 25 years later, right? And so when we do these types of exercises, it's really meant to get into the core belief that you have in yourself that keeps you in this place of constantly quitting on yourself. All right. So this is another really fun exercise too. And it's also one that brings up a lot of emotion. So do this on yourself. Like, if you find yourself quitting on your fitness journey, your nutrition journey, or whatever that is, do the so what exercise. Like, okay, like if I quit, well, then what's next? Well, then I'm going to feel like I'm in a shame spiral. Okay, so what? What's next? And so you kind of go through this that you get some clarity, because sometimes when we have a healthy amount of fear, it actually pushes us. It actually drives us to be able to be successful. Okay. Now here's the other one, and this is another really good one too. So how are you playing it small? And so all of our inner circle members have been asked this. And I usually do this at reassessment periods where it's like I'll usually do 3, 6, and 9 months, but I'll ask them this question. So we've gone over these high reward habits, and we've gone over these different things that are really beneficial for them. And so after we go over like, okay, what's working? Then we'll dive into like, okay, how are you playing it small? And what we find is that, like, let's say I was just on a inner circle call this morning, and I was talking with one of our clients, and this person was like, you know what, like I really want to be active. I just don't understand why I can't go on more walks. And so as we dove into it more, and I asked this person, like, how are you playing it small? What happened was we got to a point where this person has been so used to constantly just going, that this person's ability to just slow down, to go for a walk, to start their mindfulness journey, to possibly do meditation, like we're finding that is a really uncomfortable thing for them, because they're so used to just going, working, being a parent, trying to better themselves, trying to level up in this program, like trying to like there's just all these things that keeps this person like constantly going. And I kind of use this visual of just like a hummingbird, like constantly going. Right. And so what we did here was we said, like, okay, in which ways are you playing it small? Like, well, Des, I don't really know what mindfulness is. I've never meditated. Like, I don't even know how to do this. And so what we did in this call is we said, okay, like here's an area of improvement. We've done all these really fantastic, beneficial things of your strength training almost 5 to 6 days a week. Your nutrition has totally been on point. Oh my God, your sleep has improved, like all of these things. Now, what are some of the areas in which you're playing it small? And that's the thing that I want to ask you. So if you're finding that you're quitting on yourself, like which area of what you're doing are you playing it small?